Hey guys, it's Agri Admin here. Welcome to my Python classes from zero to hero. Why did I do that and why did I put a question mark on it? Because for sure we start from zero, no coding experience required. However, how far will we go? I don't know. We'll see how this course goes. So my plan is to give you some lecture, not a lecture, more like a working lab, and then you will get a homework, how to prepare for the classes. Everything is on my blog, angrysysops.com. Go to Python section and you will see the free course over there. So what you need to have is IDE, Python of course, and my GitHub repository. So from GitHub you download the lessons and then you open folder in your favorite IDE. I'm using Visual Studio Code, but you can use a PyCharm. After downloading the lesson from the GitHub, you should have something like this, which is lesson 1, you see exercises and the homework. And for the lesson 2, which hasn't been uploaded yet, you will have to download lesson 2. And then we'll be next, and we'll see how many lessons do we have. So, before we go ahead and before we start, leave a like and subscribe to my channel. If you have any questions, you can leave the comment, but my preferable way to contact with you would be Twitter. So send me a direct message on the Twitter at angrysysops and let's start. Okay, lesson number 1, we will talk about variables. What is variable? So I will not use like a jargon or super coding jargon so the people who are coders can kill me for it. But in simple terms, it's the memory allocation. So let's say we do something like this. So we want to do the simple addition, 5 plus 5, yeah? And we can execute that code. So we press over here to play. In the PyCharm, if using PyCharm, you will go right click and you will run. The run should be somewhere here, or we can run in we can run Python file in terminal, which is same. So as you see, code has been executed. We don't have any error message, but we don't see an output. So to find out what is 5 plus 5, we need to store that value somewhere. And that's why we need variables. And variables could be anything like a. And to assign variable to this equation, we just put the equals sign. Okay? So now, this variable is a place in memory. It's reserved place in the memory. And we can call that variable later on. So once we have this equation, now we can run the script again. And you see, again it's run, but we don't see this variable. Because to call that variable, we need to use the function called print. Print, we open brackets and we put what variable we want. It's a. And now we should get here 10. And you can see that 5 plus 5 is equal 10. There are 3 main variables which I want you to know. The first is integer, and integer are just the numbers. Yeah, 3. So let's put this way: b equals 3, c equals 10, d equals 234, and all of those variables are type integer. Now if we do something like this, 3.5, well, it could be 3.45, f equals 5.2, those variables are called float. Now The next variables I want you to meet is string. String we put in these quotes, the single quotes. And string is like a word, something which is not number. Okay, so to summarize, three main types of variables are integers, where are numbers, the integers as numbers, float, which are not equal numbers, so all the dot numbers, and the string as a word. That's what you need to remember. Okay, and what do we have in the first lesson? Okay, so we have a three main variable types: integer, numbers, float, which are not equal numbers, the dot numbers, and the strings as a word. And let's have a look what task do we have to do in this particular lesson. So the task is create three variable and assign 5 as an integer, float and string. Okay, so let's say variable A, let's put a 5. Yes, so 5 is an integer. B, if you want to assign 5 as a float, that will look like 5.0. Yes, and the C, 5 as a string, we put a single quotes and put a 5. So this is the task. Now print each of variable and use a type bracket function to print the value and type of one or more of them. Okay, so what they ask us here is to use a print and print variable. Okay, so it's print A, but also they want to see what type that variable is. So that's very useful. If you don't remember or you're not sure what the type of variable is, you can use this, which is print. You open brackets, you put in type, again open bracket and put a variable and close the brackets. Okay, so we have a print type variable. And if I run this now, let's actually do it for all of them. Sorry. Print B. And print C. So now that should print 5 and it should say it's an integer. This should print 5.0 and the type float, and that should print 5 and type string. So let's have a look. As you see, 5 is integer, 50 is float, and 5 is string. Also you can see the int means integer, float, and str string. I hope that was pretty clear for everyone. If you want to do any calculations, that's important to know what the type is and what types you can add. For instance, can you add integer and float? And the answer is yes, you can. So let's say some R, and let's say A plus B. Now think about it and tell me what type will be the result of that equation. If you guess it's float, yes, you're right. So let's say, let's print, so let's see, let's print that. And let's see what type it is. And you can see the R is 10.0 and the class is float. Now, the question is, can you do something like this? So add all of those values. I give you a few seconds to think about it. And the answer is no. You cannot add string to the numbers. Let's have a look. So you see here, we got the error and unsupported operator type, float and string. You cannot add string to float. Okay guys, so this was a very first lesson. So we know there are three variables: integer, float, string. We know how to put them into the program, and we know how to add two of them, and the most important, we know how to check the type of the variable. Just go ahead and try yourself, and I'll be back soon with lesson 1.1. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel, click notification bell so you don't miss the lesson. Okay, bye.